Yeah, I'll give you more wet food later. You got dry food in your bowls right now. Both of your bowls have got dry food in there. But I got people that wanted to see the garden and everything since the rain. And I finally got that potato vine to grow. Look at it. It's hanging out of the pot. Finally. With all the rain and the sunshine. And I got volunteer tomato plants coming up beside it. So I'm just going to leave them. Look at this. They just come up here to hang out with me, I guess. Yeah. They just come out here to hang out with me. Little buddy's eating some of his dry food. You've had a can of wet food today. You've had treats, dry food. But y'all got to eat some of that before I give you any more wet food. Look at that. Isn't he sweet? Yeah, he's tired. He's worked hard today. He's worked so hard today. But yeah, I wanted to come out here and show you. I've got clematis growing all down here where the seeds fell from the vine going across the arbor. Look at all of it. It's crazy. I can't get it to go up the arbor half the time, but look, it started going up again. But it's sure growing all over the ground where the seeds fell. I don't know what color that is, whether it's the lavender or the purple. But yeah, this vine here is going crazy. And I've been trying to keep it broke off. You know, the tops of it broke off up here to where it'll stop growing taller. You know, I don't want it to get but just so tall, because it'll just start falling over like this one's doing. It's fell over and going over toward the tree, propped up on the tree. But it has got tomatoes in there, look. Got some green ones down there. Got more green ones up here. And look at the top up there. A whole clump of them right there at the top of the trellis. But I wanted to show you the growth on my eggplants out here. Look at this. Look at that. Isn't that something? Look how they've been growing. They love this rain, and they've got blooms. So they're going to have eggplants. And I think these are the black beauties. I'm not sure. But there's the hosta. And here's another eggplant. Like I said, I'm not sure which color this one is. Whether it's the white Casper or if it's the black beauty. But I'll know as soon as it starts putting out eggplant, I guess. And here's my tomato vines here, growing crazy. These are the grape tomato vines. You can see how they grow like a clump of grapes. They're great for salads. And heck, I even put them in a pan and cook them and make pasta sauce with them too. And here is also more eggplant. I think this is black beauty. I wouldn't swear to it. I'll know whenever it starts producing eggplant. And I've got a squash or zucchini up in the top. I don't know which. It hasn't produced anything yet. But here is my tomato plants that I said the wind has blown over. And these are supposed to be Roma tomatoes. They're not supposed to get real big. But I've got to get out here and get some sticks and stake them up to see how they're laying over. And I don't want my vines to lay over like that. Here's the other eggplant. Look how much it's grown with all this rain. And like I said, I think it's a black beauty. Eggplant. Yeah, I think this is a black beauty. And there's more of the vines. And see how these just bend over and fall over? That's why I've been trying to keep them trimmed off. Prop it up on this other tomato cage over here. That'll help support it. But I think they grow overnight. I've been trying to keep the tops pinched off so they'll stop growing tall. But they just keep going. And here's these, see, it's producing something. It's starting to put an eggplant on there. But that's just a flower, so I don't know what color the eggplant's going to be. I think it's pretty sure it's the black beauty. And look at this. I've been trimming the top off, but it's still growing. It keeps getting taller and taller. So I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I need to secure it up here like that. I don't have anything with me right this minute. I'll have to come back out here and do that. But see, these eggplants are putting out blooms. They're fixing to have some eggplant. And I think these are Caspers. I'm not sure. I think these are the Casper white ones. Or it might be a mixture. I don't know. I started putting so many out. But I know most of these through here are the Casper, the white eggplant. Look how much they've grown. And they are starting to bloom. I mean, look at this. Well, you can't see that bloom. It's behind it. But it's putting out lots of blooms, so I will have eggplant off of it. And here's some more of the grape or cherry tomatoes. They got a late start. These here did. But they're getting pretty tall. And there's my parsley. And look at this. There's an eggplant here that's getting ready to produce eggplants. Oh my goodness, and this has gone crazy. Look at the clematis up there. And it dropped seed, so it's growing from the ground up now. Not just the pot. And this thing has finally produced some kind of berries, but I don't think I'm going to be eating them. There's not going to be enough on them to do anything with. And they say you got to cook them for at least 30 minutes to make sure they're not poisonous. The birds can eat them, and it doesn't hurt the birds, but this is the first year I've had any berries on it at all. But they're not the kind of berries I wanted. I wanted raspberries or blackberries, and that's what it was supposed to be. Ain't that right, little buddy? But my coleus is growing. Look at that. And I don't remember what that is. It's probably an eggplant. But this is a holy basil. The first holy basil plant I've had. And it came up from seed. And look at this. I'm going to have to stake this up somehow. There. And the clematis is just going crazy. See, when I come out here to do a tour, I found so much to do. And I start doing it instead of finishing the tour. But look at all this. It should be going up around this. And I probably need to get a better quality of a arbor, because these are not very sturdy. But there's my regular basil, 2 plants of it. Let me shorten these legs because I'm getting my tripod tangled up in everything. But see how these grow? And it's just bent over. Put it up there. And look up here. Way over my head, I got tomato vines towering over my head, y'all. What am I supposed to do with that? And I come out here and cut the top of them off all the time, and they still put out new tops just like that and start growing again. Tomato plant here. And see, at the top is where it's starting to put out tomatoes. That's one reason I don't like to cut off a grape tomato or a cherry tomato vine, because it'll put out a ton of tomatoes of the vine. And this one's getting so tall it's leaning over. That's supposed to be a Roma tomato. It shouldn't get that tall, but I don't think it's a Roma. And look at this. I got tomatoes towering over my head on this side too. Look. There's a whole clump right there. That's what they call them, grape tomatoes. They grow in clumps just like a grapevine. And I try my best to keep them staked up and cut off, but they just grow like crazy anyway. Especially with all this rain we've had. And there's one fell over on the ground, and it's got tomatoes on it. See if I can prop it up here or something, I don't know. And see, this one's fell over. Yeah, I got to get some stakes and come out here and stake them all up. I'm getting hung up in my bushes. And look at this one. I had it all tied up, y'all. But these vines have a mind of their own. They're going to go where they want to go or where the wind blows them. Let me get out of here. But see that? Look at this, how tall it's gotten. Pinch the top of it off and it'll still keep growing. Get it up in there. That'll help. But I've got some okra growing here. Thought I had an ant on my foot. Growing up out of the cinder blocks. And this one's actually got a little okra on it. I cut 2 okra, but one of them was too tough. The other one's okay, but what are you going to do with 1 okra? And there's a Roma tomato in there. It's propped up on the... And look at this. It's propped up on the other vines over here. Ain't that right, little buddy? And look at here at my cabbage. That's a solid cabbage right there. They're all heading up. If I can just keep the bugs off of them, I'll be okay. Now this one's splitting open. I don't know why it's splitting like that. This probably has a lot to do with getting a lot of water versus then days with no water. Because it doesn't look like anything's chewed on it. It's just split open. But these are solid little heads in there. About the size of a softball. That one is too. They're all heading up. Like I said, if I can keep the bugs off. And look at my cucumber vine in my compost pile. Look at that. It's going crazy. I've already picked some cucumbers off of it. I got 1 or 2 off of it already. I got a tomato growing in there too. Look at that. I'm just waiting to see what kind of tomato that is. Probably a grape tomato or something to that effect. It's got plenty of blooms on it. And it's going crazy. So we'll see. It's got plenty of blooms if the heat don't kill it after all this rain. We'll see. But look at the runoff buckets. They're full of compost. Tomatoes, my walking onions. Look at these. Grape tomatoes here. They're just full of green tomatoes. All of them are full of green tomatoes. And I come out here and picked a bunch of them yesterday. But there's some still that are ripe now because that's a golden jubilee. They don't turn red, they turn gold. And that's what these are too. That's a golden jubilee. And I think that's a celebrity there, that big one. I got Hungarian hot peppers. They might be banana peppers. I had some banana peppers too. But this eggplant's getting ready to have a eggplant on it. I mean, those are some pretty tomatoes, these little golden jubilees. They're a little bit bigger than the grape tomatoes. And look in there. Those haven't ripened up yet. There's 2 big ones right there. Oh, I got ants crawling on my feet. They'll drive me crazy. But there's an eggplant. Look here. Since the rain, look how pretty they're looking. Got 1 or 2 over here. Right down there. And I got one back there, the black one. See right there? My pepper plants are really doing good in those bags. Those are the bell peppers. They're really doing good. Oh, I wished I'd have put my other shoes on. I wouldn't have got bit by ants again. My feet are burning. And here's the little grape tomatoes. I just picked a whole bunch of them yesterday, every one that looked like it was ripe. And this is how many have ripened up since then. Lucky, what are you doing? Huh? What are you doing? You gonna talk? Huh? You gonna talk to me? Here's little buddy. Yeah. And look, this is that mystery vine that has never produced anything. It's just taken up space and grew around the garden and never has produced anything. And I've got a watermelon vine here growing. It came up voluntarily, so I left it just to see if I'll end up having any watermelon on it. But I got some tomatoes in here. Got a big one right back there. Right there. Got a big one right here. It'll be a lot bigger when it's ripened than it is now, because it's just not even half grown yet. And I got a big old vine back there laying on the ground, and it's growing like crazy. I'm just leaving it. I've given up on it. And there's more tomatoes. There's a bunch of green ones, and there's a couple of ripe ones that ripened since I picked them yesterday. And there's some corn. Finally got enough water on it that it's growing. The corn over here just really burned up. I mean, it was not getting enough water, so it just kind of dried up. The peas have started to grow again, but as soon as it gets hot and dry, they'll die. I got to think of something else to do with my peas next year. My peppers are, look at these. You know, I could fill this green stalk tower full of bell peppers, and look at that. They're growing like crazy. I'm gonna have a ton of bell pepper from them. And I got a volunteer tomato plant in the top too. Don't have any idea what type of tomato it is. I got a volunteer tomato right there that came up from the dirt. Don't know what it is. I've got another basil plant here, and it's trying its best to go to seed. When it does that, it's going to go to seed, so I break it off. Because if you let it go to seed, it'll think it's done doing its job and the plant will die. So I always break it off. And I've got a tomato plant tangled up there in it. Tomato plant here. And I think I picked all the big ones that were on it off. And so far, it hasn't produced any more yet. But I think I had one or two on this one that were still green. I don't see them right now. What do you think, little buddy, huh? But my rose bushes are growing like crazy. They're probably going to need to be trimmed back pretty soon. Look how big this one is. It's about to take over my tomato plants. And I've got Hungarian peppers here. They're hot peppers though. I don't have any jalapenos this year that I've seen. I planted some seeds, but I didn't see any of them come up. But I got a couple of bigger tomatoes here that's not ripened yet. I picked them all. I've got a great big bowl in the house that I picked yesterday. I come out here and tried to pick every ripe tomato, cherry tomato, grape tomato, and larger tomatoes that I could find. But look, no matter how many of them you pick, they ripen overnight. That's good. I tried to get them all off on this because they were dropping on the ground. There's more Hungarian hot peppers. And remember, these were the volunteers that come up from last year. Because I had both of these 5-gallon buckets planted in Hungarian hot peppers. and some of the peppers dropped into the pot, the bucket, and that's volunteer plants that came up this year from them. And I still haven't got all my carrots out of here. But look, you can see orange, so I don't know how long they are. But there's carrots, and I need to come out here and pull them. Probably pull all of them up one day. And just see what I got in here. And maybe plant something else. But see, look at this. I don't want to pull them up right now. But I've got a bunch in there. And I think I got some big ones, so. And there's that volunteer tomato plant. Look at that. Well, I guess that's carrot tops going to seed. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of that is. So I may have a bunch of volunteer carrots in there next year. I picked that one clean yesterday, and this one too, but it's still got some in it. And that one I left out here to ripen up because it was still mostly green. But look at the white Casper back there. It's looking good. That's the only one I've got so far of the white ones. But that plant is trying to put out a bunch more. There's a bunch of flowers on it. Ooh, I got mosquitoes started. But here's these tomatoes. But see, those just they grew out of hand and they just started falling over the tote. And I propped them up and they still, and broke the tops off, and they still grew overnight in the rain. This one did too, so I've just had to leave it. And look at here. I think these are Better Boys or Celebrities, I'm not sure which. But I picked a couple of ripe ones off of that already. Another Roma, green one. I don't know how much more my squash plants are going to do. They've tried to produce more. And look at there. It's producing more tomatoes, and those are pretty big sized tomatoes there. I just hope the plant survives. I got to come out here and harvest some seed off of my marigolds. Look at there. A lot of seeds in those pods. And there's another Hungarian hot pepper. Another volunteer. I just spaced them out around the garden. And here's some more Roma tomatoes. There's one, a ripe one and a green one. These are ripening up. And there's one. Another Hungarian hot pepper. Or either banana pepper, I don't know. Because I did plant some banana pepper seed and they look just like a Hungarian hot pepper. So I won't know till I bite into one and just test it and see. There is another okra. I'm getting that one. That'll make me 2 okras. And as soon as that other one gets big enough, I'll cut it and maybe put it in a small pot of gumbo. But look at this wandering Jew, y'all. It loves this spot back here. Every piece that, was it Rhonda that sent me? Has rooted and grown like crazy. I've got, doesn't look like worms, but there's some kind of bug. I don't know if it's snails or what it is. Been getting on my collard leaves or cabbage leaves, and they're, yeah, it's a worm. I see one. I need to get out here and spray them before they eat them up. Yeah, there's another one on here. You have to be careful right after a rain. Because right after the rain, when it dries off some, that's when they attack your plants. And something's been having a smorgasbord off of my leaves here. It's got to be those worms. But they're just started on them, so if I hit them now, it'll keep them from eating my leaves up. But look at the clematis. Oh my gosh, it's growing up it's growing up this thing. I don't want it over here. It'll grow all over my, it'll grow all over. I don't want it going up there. I don't want it going on that pole. That holds my shade cloth up. My goodness, I got to get that off of there. Make it go up on the arbor. Here, let me put this. Let me put this down. Put this ochre down. I gotta do something with this right now. If I don't, it'll go crazy. I'll never get it off. And this one needs, don't need to go that way either. Well, you see that post will move, and if it runs around there too tight, it'll pull the vine right out of the pot or break it off. And I don't want that to happen. But I want you to look over here too. They're growing from the ground and up and over. Which that's okay as long as it stays up there. I don't want it growing on the rose bush though. Ain't that right, Lucky, huh? You silly kitty. You playing with a bug? Are you playing with a bug? Huh? Yeah, in the near future, I'm going to have to get rid of these rocks from around here. That way I can mow in between the rose bushes because there's so much grass in there. But that's okay. I can just move these rocks. That's why I didn't cement them. And I can just mow up in there if I have to. And for some reason, I guess it's the type of dirt that's in that bucket right there that the cabbage is wilted down a little bit. It doesn't hold the moisture like the other ones do. And here is my Rose of Sharon. I still haven't moved it. I've got to move it somewhere where it gets partial shade during the day. And it'll grow a lot better than what it's doing here. Yeah, I had a pepper plant here. And a squash or zucchini, I don't know which, but it gets too much sun during the day. It gets too hot on it if it's not raining. So I don't think it's going to do any good here. And that sunflower's not, it's gone. Need to pull it out. But look at the rock garden there with the moonflowers, sunflowers, blanket flowers. It's just full. And that pot there. And my crepe myrtle back here. My strawberries are growing like crazy. They're putting out runners. Look at this. Look at the runner. That's going to be another plant, but I don't want it to hang out there. I want it to stay inside. Root somewhere inside the pot. See here? There's another runner. That's going to be another plant right there. See the roots coming on it? But I want it in here. Don't want it to root in the ground down here. There's another one. And I just give up on this. That vine has not produced anything. I don't think it will. It's put out flowers. But that's all. The corn evidently does not get enough water here to produce popcorn. I mean, it does have ears on it. See there? And there's one there, but it's basically dried up. So, I need to rethink where I plant my corn next year. Got a volunteer tomato plant come up in the marigolds. And that was supposed to be lavender or something. I don't know, but it just didn't do anything. This is zucchini. I mean, the zucchini bush still looks pretty good considering, but it's not producing anything right now. And there's my turnips. And my beets have just not done anything. I think it's been too dry on them out here. I don't think they like the raised bed. There goes a cucumber, but it's basically gone. Got a tomato growing up in here. Might put it in there and let it grow up the vine, up the trellis. And look at this. I got this grape tomato growing. It was a volunteer plant, came up in the zucchini. In the zucchini pot. No, that's squash there. This one here is a zucchini. These two first ones are zucchinis. This one's a yellow squash. And that one's a yellow squash. And whatever kind of peas this is. Even the little ones are tough, so I didn't pick any to try to eat them. I don't know if you can shell the peas and eat the peas or what. But it was a volunteer. But see, it is trying to put out some more squash down in there. And look in there at these strawberries. Look at that, isn't that something? Fur baby's right behind me. I don't know why my camera turned off. It cut off with me and I had to restart it. But look at all my buckets, the overflow buckets, they're full. So I'll be able to water in a few days with my compost tea in my buckets if we don't get any more rain. And all of my sunflowers on the property line over there is doing real good. Way over there. Yeah, and I still haven't decided what I'm going to plant here. I may put my sweet potatoes here, because my sweet potato slips are almost big enough to plant, because I don't really have anywhere else to put them. so I may put them in these 2 totes. And look at this grass. This Bermuda grass growing up in my rose bushes. I'm gonna have to trim my rose bushes back, probably move the rocks and stuff to where I can mow up close to the rose bush and get rid of the grass. What? Huh? You gonna rub on my legs? Huh? You know, little buddy's gonna talk too now. But since we got all this rain, the mums are doing real good in my pots out here. Like that pot there, look how pretty and green those mums are. And they've got blooms on them, but or buds, they haven't bloomed out yet. But these are really good. Almost getting ready to be completely full of flowers. And that rose bush with the 4 o'clocks in there. I don't know why the 4 o'clocks didn't come up last year. I think only 1 or 2 of them came up. But several of them came up this year. Look, the wind didn't blow any rain under here, so I'll have to get me a bucket of water and come out here and water those. But this is pretty. The zinnias, the roses, and the sunflowers. It's like a bouquet. And I do have the 4 o'clocks that are coming up in here, but I need to get another mum and stick it in there. Maybe if they have mums on sale this year at the nursery at Walmart or somewhere, I might buy another 1 or 2 and stick them in this pot. Because the one I put in there last year didn't make it. It was the only one that didn't make it. Because this one's still here. And the sunflower is. I need to cut that sunflower stalk out. And this one made it too. All the blooms are dead on it. It's got to rebloom again. It'll be pretty. But look at all my sunflowers up close to the house. And my crepe myrtles. Well, little buddy, I got a few more ant bites on my feet now because I'm out here with my flip-flops. And I know better, but I just forgot. Came out here anyway. Well, I guess for me and the fur babies, this is our other garden update that y'all asked for after the thunderstorm and all the rain we had. Hi. Hi. My neighbor's girls out there riding on their bikes. And my kitty cat's following me. Now, yeah, I got a ton of peppers here. This bush is just loaded with them. There's 5 or 6 in there. As small as that bush is. What? Oh, I got mosquitoes biting me. What? What? Well, you won't let me put the eardrops in your ears to clean your ears out. I'll have to try again tomorrow, maybe. I've never done that before, so I don't know how it's going to work. But I bought eardrops to put in his ears, and I bought the little wipes that you wipe his ears out with. So we'll see how that works out. Won't we, little buddy? Yep. Well, y'all have a blessed day. Please like, share, and subscribe to my videos. We'll see you on the next one. Love y'all, and good night.